Hi there, this is Crystal, and today I'm back with another spread in my Project Life album for 2018. This is week 29. As you can see, I already have my photos printed and I think laid out where I'm going to want them. You can see there's not very many this week. I only had 4 photos. So it's going to be a lot of embellishments, a lot of papers and embellishments, which is, of course, a-okay with me. I'm using the August kit from Citrus Twist Kits, the Pocket Life kit. I also have a few other things pulled out. So this is what I've pulled from the kit. I've also added the Read, is that what it's called? Oh, it might be Book Lover. Oh, does it say on it? I should just check. Yes. Yeah, it's the Traveler's Notebook stamp called Book Lover. It's from a previous month from Citrus Twist because I have some photos of my dog Abby, who is a Read to a Dog volunteer at our library. So I thought it would be fun to include some of these stamps as well as the book page that came in the August kit. And then this is just a library card that I had from my stash. So this is what I have pulled out. I kind of have this blue and teal color scheme. And I'm not really sure where exactly it's going to go, but I'm just going to play around and see what happens. So I'm going to put you on fast forward and we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to start by going through the cards and papers that I've pulled out to try and figure out where I want them on my spread. I'm kind of excited to do some layering and some real more scrapbooking, I guess, is the way I would put it, than I normally do. Normally I just kind of slap some cards down, glue my pictures on, and add some embellishments on top. But I want to do some layering and some fun things on this spread. So I'm really excited to get started. So I went through that Maggie Holmes Willow Lane paper pad and I pulled out this floral kind of on a teal background for that bottom card. I thought it went really well with the other colors that I have pulled out for this spread. I also have some scraps of another paper from that paper pad, the blue, the dark blue with white floral on it. Those are just scraps from another project that I did, so I really want to include those in my layers. So now I'm just going to trim everything down. That book card, the kind of book plate card, was already 3 inches wide, so I just needed to trim the length down to 4 inches. And now I'm going to trim down this vintage book page that came in the kit. And I start by trimming it to 3x4, and then I realized I wanted to layer it with that blue paper, so I have to trim it down a little bit more. And then I just trim the blue paper down to 4 inches, and I'm going to use one of the other cards to make sure that I get it exactly 3x4. So I stack that blue piece on top of the other 3x4 card, and then I'm going to layer the book page on top of that, and then that will ensure that the whole thing is 3x4 and will fit in my pocket. I just have to trim down the edges where it didn't align perfectly, just to make it all line up straight. So that's pretty much how my spread is going to be as far as the papers go. I'm just going to look through the embellishments that I pulled out to see what I want to use on what cards or photos. And I really like this little bit of wood grain that I've pulled out. So there's the little die cut piece on the bottom with the heart in the center, and then the label that I've chosen for the title card is also wood grain. And I feel like that just kind of picks up the color of the vintage book page and just works really well with the other things I have. So here's where I start kind of playing around with some layering. So I have this tiny bit of that blue paper from Maggie Holmes, and I have a little offcut of the book page, and I'm thinking I'm just going to layer them here and on my title card under where I plan to put the label for the dates, and just have a little bit of fun with it. So that's what I do. And I add the label on top, and then I just trim off the edges. And I got a little glue on my table, and I tried to pick it up with the book paper, but it was too thin, and I ended up just gluing the book paper to my desk. So I had a little bit of a mess there that I needed to clean up. And I thought about using the navy blue Pink Fresh Studio Puffy Alphas for this, but they were just a little bit too dark. That blue floral paper from Maggie Holmes is kind of a lighter navy. So I thought these foam alphas from Pink Paisley from a Paige Evans collection would work a little bit better, and they're such a great size for Project Life pages, and I really love the font. So that's what I used, and I'm really happy with the way that that turned out. So I definitely, like I said, want to use this wood grain piece on this photo of Abby. And then I realized that one of the puffy heart stickers from one of the previous kits would fit perfectly in that little spot. There was a die cut piece that came out of there that I could have just used that, but this adds that contrasting teal color to this page as well. And then I just added a couple of tiny attacher staples, and I'm going to call that one finished. So I've moved on to the top photo. I want to use one of the fabric pieces that says Fun Time, but I really like this cork piece. And I just, looking back, I really like the way it works, especially on the other journaling card to the left there. But I don't end up using either of them. I just couldn't get this top one to work. I couldn't find something to layer it with that I really liked. So I end up going with this fabric piece that says Fun Time. And I layered it with a little label from the die cut pack, and I turned the label upside down. It had a little heart on it, but it just didn't work with this fabric piece. So instead I turned it upside down, and I'm just going to journal on what is the top of it, but now is the bottom, if that makes sense. So I just added a little bit of twine to that tag, and I'm adding just a couple lines of journaling there, and then that one is pretty much finished. So for the middle photo, I have another one of those fabric die cuts, and I want to add another label. So I went to the cut apart sheet that comes with the kit. This comes in the kit when you order it, and it's just a cut apart of mostly labels. And I chose a blue label from that sheet, and I'm going to stamp using the Book Lover Traveler's Notebook stamp from Citrus Twist Kits. I'm going to use a stamp from that kit that says Bibliophile, and I'm going to add it to that tag, and then I'm going to glue the little fabric tag to the top of that, and then glue the whole thing to the photo. So that photo is again of my dog Abby at the library. She's a volunteer there. She had to go through training to get certified to be a Read to a Dog dog. She's a canine good citizen, and we do that every month at the library, and it's one of her favorite things. So I had a few photos from this month's event, and thought I would just do a bit more journaling to kind of highlight that part of our lives. It's something she enjoys so much, and we look forward to every month. So I wanted to make sure that I had documented that. So for this card, I have a photo of a kit that I received from Mandy Marks. She was amazing and sent me an amazing swap as part of the Retro Hip Mama swap that happened earlier this year. And so I took a photo of it, and I wanted to include it on my page, but I'm just adding a ton of layers behind that photo. I added a bit of that blue floral paper from Maggie Holmes, some more of the book page, and then another die cut from the kit. And I just glued all that back there and added another label so I could just write a couple lines describing what the photo is, and that's going to be it for that one too. So I also need to add my date stamp, and that label that I chose is pretty small, so I'm not going to be able to do the full date for both dates of the week, if that makes sense. So I just used a little bit of scrap paper and masked off part of it so I could stamp the first date and then add the second date behind it. So now I'm thinking that I really want to add some stitching. I recently found my sewing machine. It had been packed away, and I pulled it out. So I really wanted to start adding some stitching, but it's been a while since I've used it. So before I stitch on the actual card, I'm just going to grab a piece of scratch paper to make sure that all the settings are right. And I'm really glad that I did, because I realized that my bobbin was out of thread. I hadn't checked that. So I fixed that, made sure that it was stitching correctly, and then I pulled over the card to start stitching. I had to rethread it because the thread pulled out, but I stitched in just kind of a zigzag stitch down the side of this card where the book page met the pattern paper, and then I decided to just add some stitching around the spread. I'm going to do it in 3 places. And so I stitched the top of the die cut on that bottom photo card, and then I'm going to stitch across the book page on my title card as well. And then that just adds some interest. It's been a long time since I've done that. I used to do it more on my Project Life spreads, but like I said, my sewing machine has been packed away, so it was nice to do that again. I really like the texture that it adds to the page. So now I can finish this filler card. I added a die cut that said, "This is my happy," and another one from the cut aparts that says, "Look at this." And then I added a couple of fabric die cuts. They're just little X's, and I stapled those on with my tiny attacher. And then I took away the 3 spots I had for journaling and typed up my journaling on my We Are Memory Keepers typecast typewriter. And now I'm going to add some stamps just to finish off those 3 cards. So I'm looking at the stamps that I have. This one is from the August kit, and I'm going to add a phrase that says, "Some things are out of my control," to this top card. And I stamp it in black. I really, really wish I had done it in gray or maybe blue. The black just ended up looking really stark against that card, and it stands out just a little bit too much. But oh well, it's done, so I'm just going to leave it. And then I'm going to add a stamp from that Traveler's Notebook set, the Book Lover set, that says "Read" to the top of this card where I'm talking about Abby at the Read to a Dog program. And then below that, I'm going to add another one from that stamp set that says "Sweeter Than Fiction." And then I'm going to look at this other card where I've done some journaling that has a big white space at the top. And I'm going to look and look and look and try and figure out something I can add to that card. But nothing that I try really works. And I don't really have a stamp out that I think goes with the story, so I'm going to end up just leaving it. And in the end, I kind of like the white space that it adds to the spread. So that's pretty much going to do it for this week's spread. I have some close-up photos coming up. Thank you so much for watching. I am so glad that you're all here and joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this, please do give it a thumbs up. It means a lot to me to get that feedback from all of you. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already so that you get notified when I upload new videos. Thank you all, and have a wonderful day.